Covert narcissists tend to exhibit more subtle behaviors compared to their overt counterparts. So it makes it really hard to identify their narcissistic tendencies and behaviors, especially in the beginning. So on top of the usual lack of empathy, sense of entitlement, and the need for admiration, there are some subtle behaviors that can reveal covert narcissism. I'm Lise Leblanc, and today I'm talking about 10 of the more subtle red flags that, when considered collectively and displayed over time, can indicate that you might be dealing with a covert narcissist. At the end of this video, I will tell you what I think are the 3 worst things that will happen to you as a result of a long-term romantic relationship with a covert narcissist. Before we get started, I just want to mention that these traits and behaviors are not necessarily exclusive to narcissistic personality disorder, and that there are specific diagnostic criteria for NPD, which you can learn more about by clicking on the link above. Okay, so the first red flag when it comes to a covert narcissist is that they are almost always portraying themselves as the victim. And they absolutely and truly cannot see their role in any of the recurring problems or chaos in their lives. All of their exes are horrible stalkers. It's their boss's fault that they keep losing their jobs. So they're always shifting blame, living in this fantasy world where they're never, ever wrong, at fault, or responsible. So when someone adopts a victim stance and mentality, it is a red flag. And I'm not saying that someone who's been victimized is a narcissist. Most people on this planet have been victimized at some point along the way. So what I'm talking about here is someone who is almost always viewing themselves as being misunderstood, mistreated, and violated. So they don't just have one victim card, they have the whole deck. And not only are they always the victim, but it's as though they're in a competition to be the biggest victim. Oh, you've got some problem? Well, just wait, because their problem is so much bigger and so much worse than yours. Second red flag is casting you as their hero and savior. And this is a huge red flag, especially when you see it in combination with the first red flag. So when they position themselves as a victim and also cast you as being the only one who understands them and can rescue them, this hero-savior dynamic, it might feel good at first. It might make you feel needed and valued. It might even give you a rush, a high, but it will quickly turn toxic. So when it comes to the covert narcissist, they might act meek and undeserving of you, very vulnerable. They might put you on a pedestal, and they will try to make you believe that you are the only one who can save them. But again, this is a huge red flag that should never be ignored. Red flag number 3 is envy. Covert narcissists feel incredibly envious of others. When you share something positive about your life, they may act happy for you. But then they quickly dismiss your success or downplay your good news, maybe saying, "Oh, that's nice," in a shallow, condescending tone. Or they may tell you that they know someone who did the same thing 10 times better or faster than you. Comparing you to others is one of their favorite tactics that they use to deflate you. And this is very confusing because they often pretend to be your biggest cheerleader, and yet they are subtly doing things to discourage and devalue you at every turn. Because they're so envious, they also tend to trash talk others in very subtle ways. Doing this by dropping hints, making ambiguous negative comments, or false accusations to undermine someone's reputation. Again, the point is to knock that person down in the eyes of others, which in some twisted way gives the narcissist a sense of superiority and control over the narrative. The narcissist will do this to anyone that they're envious of, anyone that they feel inferior to or threatened by, including their so-called friends, family members, partners, It can be anyone. Flag number 4, as much as covert narcissists can be aggressive, their typical go-to tactic is to be passive aggressive. They are not able to express their needs in mature ways, and so they often resort to childlike tactics. So instead of engaging in a productive conversation about the problem, the covert narcissist will use passive aggressive behavior to communicate their dissatisfaction. For example, let's say your girlfriend is upset that you didn't text first thing in the morning. Instead of directly asking you why you didn't text first thing in the morning like you usually do, she doesn't answer any of your calls all morning or all day. And when she finally answers, doesn't say anything about it, acts like there's nothing wrong. Maybe you ask her out to dinner, but then when you go to pick her up, she deliberately makes you wait for a very long time. When you let her know that you're going to lose the reservation if she doesn't hurry up, you get sighs, eye rolls, and comments like, "Oh, I guess you don't like it when you have to wait." So another thing is that the covert narcissist often waits to retaliate or show their dissatisfaction. So instead of immediately and impulsively letting it out, they will serve up their revenge when you're least expecting it. To you, it seems like it's coming out of left field, but for the narcissist, they have just been waiting for their moment. Red flag number 5 is attention seeking. Even though covert narcissists are often introverted, they still have a strong craving for attention and admiration, and they have sneaky ways of getting it. For example, they may fish for compliments by putting themselves down. They may fabricate problems that require your constant focus. And even if you manage to solve every problem they present to you, it will never be enough. They will either come up with new problems or criticize your solutions. You can give them the world, but they will question why you're not giving them the entire universe. So you need to understand that no matter how hard you try or how genuine your efforts or good your solutions are, it will never be good enough. They will constantly change the goalposts so that you can never attain their standards, because their primary goal is simply to keep your attention and energy focused on them and their problems. Number 6, fake empathy. Covert narcissists are usually good at presenting as caring, virtuous, humble people. Many actually seem to believe that they are actually empathetic, but the truth is they struggle to understand and connect with other people's emotions. So while they may offer superficial support, and their words may sound like the right things to say, their true feelings and intentions are not sincere. So although they act like they care about what you're going through or what's going on in your life, they're simply putting on an act. Number 7, covert narcissists have very fragile self-esteem. They may try to hide that behind some kind of facade. They may try to act like they've got it together or are successful on some levels, but regardless, they are highly sensitive to criticism, rejection, and they will react with extreme defensiveness. Number 8, covert narcissists really excel at emotional manipulation tactics, including gaslighting, which is a form of psychological manipulation that makes you question your own perception of reality. They might distort the facts, revise history, twist the narrative in an effort to make you doubt your memory and your judgment. So this is to undermine your own confidence in your own mind and make it harder for you to, hold them accountable for anything. Number 9, the covert narcissist has massive double standards. They set rules and boundaries that are only for you. They're not applicable to them. So for example, they can be late, like a half hour late, but if you're 2 minutes late, it's the end of the world. They act as though they have no awareness that they are breaching the exact boundary that they set and that they reamed you out for doing just yesterday. Number 10, you will feel their constant need for control over your every thought and move. What and how you eat, drive, dress, where you go, who you talk to, and if you disagree or assert yourself, they will lash out either aggressively, passively, or in those oh so lovely passive-aggressive ways. And there will be unnecessary tension at every turn, bossing, blaming, hostility, and you will basically be treated like an incompetent idiot that doesn't know a thing about anything. After the love bombing stage, a covert narcissist typically turns into a big black cloud looming over your head, complaining, criticizing, and showing contempt towards you. It's as though they hate you and just can't even stand the sight of you. Where you were once perched high on that pedestal as the hero, now you're treated as inferior and unworthy. And yes, there may still be a few good times, but these good times will be replaced with chaos, control, and confusion. In my opinion, the three worst things that happen to you when you stay in a long-term romantic relationship with a narcissist are: 1, you will lose your sense of self. Within months, years, whatever, you are so focused on pleasing and appeasing the narcissist that you will totally lose touch with who you are, what you want, what you like, what you need, and so on. Number 2, you will likely experience a deep and overwhelming sense of failure. When involved with a narcissist, they initially lure you in by revealing their vulnerable side and casting you as their hero, getting you completely committed to the very special mission of rescuing them. But as time passes, you will realize that this truly is mission impossible. But they believed in you, thought you were the special one, their savior. How could you fail them like this? The narcissist will make you feel so guilty and responsible for them, eliciting this intense feeling of obligation and a profound sense of personal failure. Number 3, once you realize that the person you fell in love with was an illusion, you will feel incredibly deceived and like you wasted precious years of your life that you can't get back. Again, it's important to remember that these behaviors should be considered in the context of a consistent pattern of symptoms and behavior over time and across contexts. As much as the covert narcissist is skilled at masking their narcissistic traits in the beginning of the relationship, they will soon show their true colors. Please don't ignore the reality of your situation. And if you need help dealing with a narcissist or getting out of a narcissistic relationship, reach out to a therapist in your area. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and for more information on the narcissist's toxic tactics, please click on the link above.